This lesson is 1.3. It's all about subtracting integers on a number line and with the rule. You'll go ahead, open up your notes packet to page number 9 and follow along in there, filling in your notes as we go. Make sure that you pause the video if you need to, and we'll go ahead and get started for today. So subtracting integers is kind of a really weird process, and you need to know that when we subtract integers, we're really going to be doing an addition problem. So if I have, for example, 5 minus 2, I'm really taking 5 and adding on a negative 2. It's the same exact thing as doing 5 minus 2. Think about it. If you had $5, you pay me $2, you're left with 3. But if you have $5 and you owe me 2, guess what? The same exact thing is happening here. So you're still going to end up with still having $3. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be making 2 marks on every single subtraction problem that we see. So every subtraction problem will turn into an addition problem. So in example 1 here, we have negative 2 minus 1. So that negative 2 is going to turn into, stay negative 2. The minus will change to a plus, and that 1's going to turn negative. If you saw it negative 2 minus 1, you can kind of think about it as like 2 pieces, negative 2 and negative 1. And that's really what we're doing here. We're turning it into an addition problem. So you start at negative 2, move 1 to the left, just like we did with the adding integers lesson. Over here, we have 2 minus a negative 2. Those are actually both going to turn into plus signs because we have to make the 2 marks for them. So when I see a minus minus, it's kind of like I don't not like ice cream. I don't not like ice cream. I actually love ice cream. So they turn into a positive then because 2 negatives turn into a positive. So we can change that to a big old plus sign that's right here. And you'll see that they kind of marked that down here as minus a negative. They really turn into one big old plus sign. So our goal for doing the number lines is going to be to make sure we make those 2 marks first, and then we're going to go ahead and graph them on the number lines just like we did with adding integers. So to refresh your memory, the first one that we have here, the first number stays the same, subtraction changes to addition, and this 10 is now going to become a negative. So we're going to start over here at 1, and we're going to move 10 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that's going to take us to negative 9. I see a minus minus, don't not like ice cream, turn it into a big old plus sign. We're going to start at 0 and move 7 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 0 plus 7 is 7. Negative 6 minus 2, negative 6 stays, change subtraction to addition, and that 2 now becomes a negative. So we're going to start at negative 6, and we're going to go 2 to the left. Boop, boop, and that's going to take us here to negative 8. Notice that the rules are basically going to be the same because we're changing everything into addition problems. So if we start here, 5 plus a negative 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 to the left, which is going to give us an answer of 1. This part is where it gets a teeny tiny little bit tricky because we got to remember that we're like working backwards here. So we're going to write the subtraction problem shown on the number line. My starting number is still 7, but I'm going to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that was left 4. So we said when we did this with addition, this would have been a minus 4. But you have to look, we already have the minus here. So we're just going to put 4 on our line, and then our answer is going to be a 3. Next example, starting spot is over here at negative 9, and we're moving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to the right. But here's where things get a little yucky. That would have been a plus 10. But I have a minus sign here. So what do I have to do to my 10 so that this actually becomes a plus in between these two? I actually have to make it a negative. Minus a negative, won't those turn into a big old plus sign? They would. So negative 9 minus a negative 10, that would turn into a plus sign because keep the first number, change would be plus plus. And my final answer is 1. So what's the deal? Because we're going to talk about the rule now because we talked about Working with the number lines, now it's time for the rule. Well, here's the deal. First number just stays the same. Use the opposite operation. In other words, change it to addition. And then you take the next number and make it the opposite. So anytime we see a subtraction problem, unless it's a really easy one like 20 minus 5, which you can do because you're so used to doing that from elementary school, not a big deal. Unless it's one like that, we want to go ahead and change these. So 8 minus 13, stay, change, change. 8 plus a negative 13. This is what we talked about with adding integers. That negative 13 wins out, and they win by 5. So you have a negative 5. In example number 2, first number stays, subtraction changes, number changes. Negative 10 plus negative 7, negatives go together, keep it negative. 1 minus a negative 2 in example 3. Big old plus sign here, and 1 plus 2 is going to give you 3. In example number 4, first number is going to stay the same, minus, those will both become positive, so I can make a big old plus sign. What is your answer going to be on this one? So if you have negative 10 plus a 7, you're going to get a negative 3 for your answer. In example number 5, I'm going to have you go ahead and choose which answer choice on the multiple choice here would be the version that you would actually be doing once you make 2 marks. If you picked the one that was actually a 16 plus a 2, which gave you 18, that was the correct one. You keep, change, or a minus, make it a big plus. Final example number 6, I'm going to have you go ahead and make your marks and give me the answer. First number stays, change, and you should get negative 14 then. In example 7, 8, and 9 here, we just have for you a couple word problem type ones. Remember, word problems deserve word answers, so as we are going through these, you want to make sure that these all have words or some sort of label with them. Number 7, the thermometer on the right starts at 12 degrees. That's our starting spot, and it falls by 14. A fall would be a negative number then. So 12 plus a negative 14 is going to give you a negative 2, and then it's talking about temperature, so we're going to label it degrees Fahrenheit. Number 8, the town of Easton had an actual temperature of negative 3 degrees Fahrenheit on a cold winter morning. However, the wind chill was negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. What is the difference between the actual temperature and the wind chill temperature? What does that word difference tell us to do? A subtraction problem is correct. So we have negative 3 minus that negative 13. We're going to go ahead and change that to a big old plus sign here. And what is the difference in temperature? It is a 10 degrees Fahrenheit difference. Final problem for today's lesson. A submarine is 50 meters below sea level. So that's where we're going to start off. Below sea level signals to me that this is a negative 50. It descends, this goes down, another 13 feet. So it's going to go down 13 feet. What is its new position relative to sea level? If you're thinking back to our addition lesson, we would have written this as negative 50 and a negative 13, which if you notice on our subtraction problem, that's what we're going to end up changing this to. Stays the same, change to addition, take the opposite. Negative 50 and a negative 13 will give you a negative 63 feet. So since we have a negative 63 feet, let's make sense of that. That means we are 63 feet below sea level. So that wraps up the end of today's subtraction lesson. So there are going to be 2 questions that follow up with this lesson here for you. One is just a quick check about how to subtract, and then the second one is a quick check on your understanding level. Please make sure that you've filled in all of your notes for today and that you are ready to go with those completed then. Okay?